Hello everyone, welcome to the patrons only video for whatever I'm going to call my recent video on morality. Still haven't picked a title, hopefully it won't suck. I wanted to make this video for my patrons to present a different way of explaining the basic idea I presented in this recent video, specifically that your moral framework, for the most part, at least not directly, doesn't really inform your actions. It really does boil down to the consequences you do or don't want to actualize. And I actually thought of this way of explaining this idea in a conversation with a couple of Christian friends of mine, one of whom pretty much seemed to agree with it from the get-go, or at least mostly, not worth arguing, whereas the other one wanted to push back in kind of a unique way that I had not heard before. He wanted to describe obeying God's commands as not merely a balancing of wants, like, wow, gee, I really want to snort cocaine off a hooker's ass, but on the other hand, I really want to obey God. No, he wanted to seemingly preserve something more concrete about obeying God's commands, and he described them as a mandate, as kind of an inescapable force, almost, as distinct from what we might traditionally consider more of a balancing act of wants and consequences. And I think I can definitely appreciate where he's coming from in that it probably does feel like a mandate, but my contention would be, and as I explain in this thought experiment coming up in just a second, functionally this is not different from what I've been saying. It just happens to be a situation where he has one overwhelming desire that just kind of bulldozes all his other desires. So the way I thought to explain it is this. Another thought experiment, a little different from the one I presented in my public video. Imagine, if you can, that every day whizzing past the Earth is a constant stream of comets, any one of which could hit the Earth and wipe out all life in a fiery hellscape. And, through a strange conflagration of physics, your day-to-day actions affect the paths of the comets, where a particular action you do might steer an otherwise harmless comet into Earth, or doing a particular action may take a comet that was headed for Earth and safely divert it away. And we can also pretend that you are somehow able to know what these actions are, whether you've got a formula, or maybe it just says that in the back of the Bible. Don't know, don't care, doesn't matter. But you do know that your actions will affect the comets, either saving the Earth or destroying it. It might be that drinking yellow Gatorade on Thursdays would cause a comet to hit the Earth that day, whereas you wake up tomorrow and you realize, oh shoot, I better do 10 jumping jacks right now, or a comet will hit the Earth. I'd better save the Earth by doing 10 jumping jacks, whatever it might be. Under those circumstances, if the weight of the world was on your shoulders in that way, and you had the power to wipe out everyone or save everyone, I gotta believe that you would very readily describe that as a mandate to, for example, do 10 jumping jacks, or to not go bowling that night with your friends if the formula says that that'll cause the next comet to hit the Earth. It's not functionally different from anything I've described. It's just that you've got this one overwhelming desire, understandably so, in this case, to not blow up the Earth. And describing it as a mandate, while certainly comforting in the sense that it feels like you're giving it some concreteness, doesn't seem functionally different from just wanting or not wanting it. It's just, again, you have an overwhelming desire that kind of bulldozes all your other desires. I realize that this thought experiment is a little more contrived and a little more complicated than what I released to the public, but I think it is useful, I don't know, just to keep in mind when someone wants to introduce a different framing to object to this kind of argument, because it does sound better, frankly, to say it's a mandate rather than, oh, I just really, really, really want to. But with a creative enough thought experiment, I think you can show that what you would want to describe as a mandate really is just a really, really strong desire. And so that's what I think this comet thought experiment kind of fleshes out. Maybe you can think of something better. I just thought it was another interesting way to frame the same issue, which does help to kind of flesh out the difference, or lack thereof, between a mandate and a really, 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 really strong desire. Just a thought. Thanks for watching.